Hey everybody, this is Ray Carsillo, Reviews and Previews Editor for Electronic Gaming Monthly, and today we are checking out Assassin's Creed Origins. We got to play a little bit of it at E3, actually almost an hour's worth. We could only show you bits and pieces, specifically the beginning of this story mission, the Crocodile. That's right, we get to play as Bayek, who of course is the new assassin, and the first assassin really is what they're insinuating, at least with this. And we're in Egypt, ancient Egypt, and Bayek of course is kind of like... He's kind of like a sheriff, like an ancient Egyptian sheriff, and so everybody kind of knows him. He's kind of got a lot of authority, as we see here, how easy it is to sail across a lake. You know, he goes pretty fast, considering, you know, they didn't have things like motorboats or anything like then, but like that back then. So this is kind of interesting, but yeah, definitely pick up a lot of speed, and we have to meet an informant, much like in a modern investigation. Any kind of a cop could get an informant, help him find a lead on a criminal, and of course, Bayek is going after this guy named the Crocodile. He's this nefarious, I think he's the main villain of the game. At least he's definitely the main villain of this section, one of the main targets that Bayek has. Of course, crocodiles were worshipped heavily by the ancient Egyptians because of, you know, Sobek was one of their gods and stuff, and he had a crocodile head, and, you know, obviously a lot of respect for nature, and crocodiles are pretty tough creatures here. As we see this cutscene, obviously with Bayek with the informant, and
Who are you? And what do you want?
You know, the crocodile is this. He's this underworld mob boss kind of thing in ancient Egypt, and you know, this is 1,000 years before Altair, and this is kind of like, I mean, you can kind of assume that the crocodile is basically like one of the first Templars, right? I mean, I think that's kind of a safe bet. Kind of trying to pull the strings, trying to control people, trying to have that power in ancient Egypt below the pharaohs and whatnot. You know, obviously it's tough to see. You don't get a lot of this in this cutscene, but you know, the writing is so. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I spent an hour playing the game, and Bayek kind of gave me that feeling like it was Altair all over again, in both the best and worst ways. Bayek doesn't have a ton of personality. He's kind of a straightforward guy. He's kind of blunt. And in that regard, he kind of reminds me a bit of Connor, kind of a bit of Arno, kind of, you know, the worst assassins. And I'm kind of worried about, and then here we trigger a side quest that we ended up not having time for. And some of the side quests, one thing I am happy about, there's a lot of side quests. This is an open world. There are, some are small. Some it's just go kill a person or go find this item. Others are, you have to follow, you have to actually assassinate somebody, and you have to follow a trail, and are almost as long as a regular story mission. And the world is open. It is a massive world. You know, Bayek has a horse. He gets around on horseback, much like Altair did. And here, because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and then your boat just kind of disappeared, I had to go find a new boat. So off I went swimming. It's a long swim. Action does pick up a little bit once I actually start getting going. This gentleman, of course, his boat doesn't go as fast as the other boat, at least until I take control of it. And I, quote-unquote, borrow it. He goes for a swim. And me, I make a U-turn. And we'll head for shore. Now, I didn't get a chance to explore as much as I would have liked to, so I can't really speak too much to the open world. I can't speak to the scale or size. But there definitely is a lot going on here. Even in the little bit I played, it was very evident that it feels like there's a lot of life, that there's a lot of people, that there's a lot of action to be had in this game. A lot of good, you know, a lot of adventure to be had is what I'm actually the word I'm looking for. And you see here we have the skill trees for Bayek. You can see all the different things he can do with his sword, with his shield, with his bows and arrows. And we got to spend a skill point there, and you see all the question marks, everything popping up on the horizon. You know, Ubisoft, obviously, a lot of the things from a lot of their other open world games have kind of been you know, have had now are having their influence on Assassin's Creed, whereas Assassin's Creed, of course, had also had its influence on a lot of the other Ubisoft games. You're starting to see that homogenization across the board now for Ubisoft games, and this kind of even with its open world, kind of almost getting a Far Cry feel to it. I mean, and we'll see a little bit later when we use the Eagle to kind of scout like Far Cry Primal. But then again, it could also make sense because if Bayek is the first one to have Eagle Sight, you know, Eagle Eye, Eagle Sense, you know, then it would make sense that he could control an eagle, right? And he could look through its eyes. But of course, hopefully the story will explain all that. And here, just you can see the sword a little bit as I press the wrong button because the controller configuration is different, at least from what I played, from what we're used to. So that took a little while to get used to, but fortunately, I spent most of my time, at least in this side mission, just assassinating people. You know, being stealthy, being quiet. You know, Bayek. You know, unlike other assassins, he doesn't go hiding in. You know, he doesn't go hiding between a few priests. He doesn't sit down on a bench and he just camouflage himself. Obviously, the last couple games really didn't have that. But Bayek, following that tradition, can't really do that. But he will be able to hide himself in low brush and whatnot. As we see here, of course, Bayek has basically completed his end of the bargain from the informant, gives the little girl the doll, and then basically gets the information from the informant's wife about where he has to go in order to hopefully find the documents he needs to find the crocodile. Very Egyptian style from what we know of pictures of like Cleopatra and stuff. The women, the men, everybody has a very everything feels like ancient Egypt. Everybody's look, you know, from Bayek to the NPCs, it feels like what we'd expect from ancient Egypt in terms of the media that we've consumed over the years, in terms of what we've seen.
That may not be safe. The Ptolemaic authorities seem to be working with the crocodile.
So Bayek just getting the lowdown on everything that he needs to know and everywhere he needs to go.
Show Bayek the way to our home.
Now we'll follow this little girl and we'll see a little bit more of this coastal town. You know, I'll say as controlling Bayek, he felt he didn't feel as nimble as a lot of the other assassins, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. He felt heavy in his movements. I mean, Bayek is definitely a big dude. He's a strong dude. Like, you definitely get that sense. He's definitely got the weight of somebody more like an Ezio or maybe a Connor or somebody as opposed to like an Arno or an Altair. Or you know, Jacob Fry as opposed to Evie Fry. You know, he doesn't feel as nimble or as quick. Like it feels weird to say, but it's like he's got weight to his footsteps. You know, like every one of his movements felt really deliberate. Even when, you know, I was just kind of moving through, you know, without chasing after people. And then of course here it is. We get the call on our eagle friend Sanu. And this was kind of my first time kind of messing around with this and kind of figured out like how to tag people, and it would kind of also focus in on your objective for you if it's nearby or if you're searching for something. Also in other side quests we did that, which you won't see, where you had to find this golden statue under the water, and Sanu could focus in on it for you and mark it for you so you could just dive down and find it really easily. You know, and this is the complex. It's a small complex. It's not a tough mission. It's just a handful of guards. We have to infiltrate, take them out, find the documents we're looking for. And just like any other Assassin's Creed game, as you see here, kneeling down, there's tons of stuff to find, little things to help flesh out the backstory of what's going on. And then, yeah, here it is, classic climbing, and, you know, it wouldn't be an Assassin's Creed game, you know, no hidden blades or anything, but, you know, you fall a couple of stories and it's gonna hurt, and so I took that guy out there with a ledge kill, and I wish I couldn't stay against the wall there. I was hoping I could draw him over and then and here another ledge kill, and then do a, you know, the typical corner assassination. But no such luck. And then so we're sneaking along. Figure this guy's was giving me a little bit of trouble before, so he sees me, but I jump down from above and kill him that way. I guess maybe I do have a hidden blade, because it looked like I stabbed him in the face there. I kind of didn't realize that from last time, but when I actually played through it. But now watching this again, and so we're supposed to get to the other side of that door, but yeah, it won't open. Not gonna open. So here we are, staying in the bushes, staying low. As you can see, this is alpha gameplay. There's obviously a lot of polish that has to go into it.
Another of Shadia's dolls.
But yeah, so just sneaking around, sneaking through the bushes, taking out these guys. There's 2 guys don't have a double assassination ability, which stinks. I wonder if I could unlock it. But here's one, and then we go into full-blown combat, and you kind of can... This took me a little while to get used to, was the new combat. Definitely the heavy attack, light attack, parrying, jumping into the middle of it. It's not hard. I mean, obviously I took care of that guy pretty relatively easily, but definitely something that hopefully I'll get more practice with and do better with. And then, we find the diary of the little girl, and we realize, well, that's not good that the little girl has probably what we need right now, because the soldiers who are all on the Crocodile's payroll are coming down to talk to them today, and that's not good. Here, classic assassination, just sneak up from behind him, stab him in the neck, and that'll pretty much do it. This is gonna wrap up our E3. This is wrap up this part of the demo that we can show you. The mission does continue. But I want to thank everybody for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and tune in to egmnow.com for all your reviews, previews, and everything you need to know about Assassin's Creed Origins. And until next time, as always, follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Carsillo. And until next time, as always, I am Carsillo.